Coming up, I'm going to be telling you everything that's new on Disney Plus today, and much more. But before we get into any of that, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. It's Friday, it's time to jump into some of today's big Disney Plus news. Obviously, with it being a Friday, we got lots of new originals and library content arriving on Disney Plus around the world. So let's jump into that first. Let's go through some of the big ones. So the main one I will really want you all to watch this weekend is Luca, a brand new movie from Pixar. This one was originally going to go to cinemas but pushed over to Disney Plus. Bad for cinemas, great for us because we can all watch it. I really enjoyed this movie, so great. I'm loving all the colours, it's got a great story. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to be watching it again over the weekend. But yeah, I just really can't stress enough. Go see it. It's fantastic. To me, it's kind of the best Pixar movie we've had since Coco, and I just thought it was so cool. So that's obviously the big one. But it's got new episodes of High School Musical, the musical, the series. Again, that series just continues to grow, kind of build towards what they're doing with Beauty and the Beast. There's also some great new original songs in this episode. I also got a new episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch. Always great. There's a special character returning for this one. This series definitely seems to be all about having a different character turn up in each one, but that's definitely pretty cool. I enjoyed that one earlier today. And then we got the finale of Big Shot, which, if you haven't seen this series, please go and watch it. It's definitely an underrated series with John Stamos as a basketball coach. Even if you don't like basketball, you're going to love this one. I did, and I don't really care about basketball in the slightest, but this one is a really cool show and you want to check that one out. Let's now move on to some of the star content. So the big release for the day really was the first episode of the second season of Love, Victor. I've been really enjoying this series. So now we've got the second season dropping. In the US, they got all of them last week on Hulu, but for us with Disney Plus, we're getting them later, kind of spread out weekly in countries all around the world. I love it when they kind of do a Disney Plus original and all of us get them at the same time, because there is a little bit of variance between all of them, which is a little bit annoying. Speaking of variance, obviously Rebel arrived in the UK, Australia, and so did Big Sky. Really enjoying Big Sky. Moving on from there, in the UK, we've got 2 episodes of Genius, so that'll be wrapping up next week. They've been releasing 2 episodes a week for that one for some bizarre reason. I don't know why. We've got a new episode of MODOK. Again, that one's been going around the world all at the same time. That was a fun little animated series. And Grownish, everyone's getting different episodes at different things. It'd be great if they could kind of catch up, because we got season 4 coming up in July in the US, so hopefully they'll kind of get everything sorted out by then. Lots of library content today. One of the big ones really was a bit of a surprise drop for the United States was Star Wars Droids, which has also arrived in Australia, UK, and in Canada as well. This one was kind of filling in from the Vintage collection. They kind of mentioned it back in May, but they're kind of holding it off. They didn't announce it in advance, which was strange. I would have thought that would have been something they wanted to do. The US also got the second season of Just Roll With It, Heartland Docs DMV Season 3, and new episodes of Dino Ranch Season 1. And there was also a new episode of Gordon Ramsay Uncharted from the 3rd season. That one, unfortunately, is just dropping in the US. They're kind of getting them weekly. Hopefully, everything will kind of work out itself. At some point, it will be arriving everywhere, but I'm really looking forward to watching that show myself. In some other news, last night they held a special premiere in Los Angeles at the El Capitan Theatre for Luca. Yeah, again, just to kind of put a big blue carpet out, and they had everyone turning up. Nice to see them kind of doing this, especially for those maybe that as well that were making it, to kind of have that big event. Always nice to have these kind of things going on. And as things are slowly starting to return to normal and having these premieres, I think it's always a cool little thing to move forward. In some other news as well, if you're in the UK and Ireland, be sure to head over to our What's On DisneyPlus.com to read the full list of everything that's coming to Disney Plus in July. There's also going to be a video today, so you want to check that one out. A massive list, loads of stuff coming. A couple of highlights for everyone. American Dad Season 17 will be getting new episodes dropping every Wednesday. We'll also be getting Season 9 of Last Man Standing dropping every Wednesday from the end of July. They're also going to be dropping all previous 8 seasons on the same time. We're also going to be getting Summer of Soul at the end of July. They're going to be a little bit later than the US and Canada, because they're going to be sending it to cinemas first for about 2 weeks before Disney Plus gets it. But there really is so many bits and pieces arriving on Disney Plus UK. That again is a whole other video for that one. And finally, we got some interesting news about Disney maybe deciding to change around with its release format. Now, we've already seen kind of Disney messing about with their release schedules over the last 18 months since Disney Plus launched. So everything originally was on Fridays. That was how they're doing it, and they're doing it weekly. And they kind of kept like that for right through till last May, when they kind of changed it with Prop Culture, where they dropped all of the whole season at once. And they've been doing that pretty much ever since on the documentary side. Now, according to Streamer, who have managed to get some information from a survey that asked about Big Shot and whether or not you might have watched more episodes had they dropped them all at once. Now, I really do think this is interesting. First off, it's the fact they picked Big Shot. You know, does that mean that it underperformed and they want to see kind of where it is? And it would make sense for Disney to do some kind of market research, work out what's going on, see why things maybe haven't worked and why it didn't catch on. Now, I know, for example, here in the UK, you rarely ever saw it on the trending chart. It was much better received in the US. Whether or not that's to do with basketball, I don't know. But for me, I really do kind of think the idea of them doing binge drops, you know, they're trying out different things. Now, I personally prefer the weekly release, and I cannot see them changing this for Marvel or Star Wars. They're going to keep it going because it just generates hype and just gets more people in. They're not going to drop the whole of, you know, Hawkeye all at once, and it wouldn't make any sense for them to do it. But they might be doing it for other series. Now, my only thing for that is that if they drop the whole series at once, it kind of shows in some ways that they're not confident that it's going to be pulling people in. That's my only downside to this, because that's the thing. Like I said, I prefer them dropping weekly, and I would prefer them all to drop weekly. I would even say that with the documentaries, because I have found in the past, when they drop all of them at once, you know, if you're not really interested, you can kind of drift off maybe by episode 3 or 4. Sometimes you obviously can carry on, but all the hype is kind of over within a week. So that's what Netflix does. Hulu kind of does the same thing. I also think there's an interesting thing going on this summer where Disney are actually going to be able to test this properly, because in the US you've got Hulu dropping shows like MODOK, Love Victor, and they're going to be dropping them all at once. Whereas internationally, they're dropping them on Star Weekly. So they're going to be able to have a look at them and kind of look at how many people were watching. They'll have some data. Now, obviously, you know, there's going to be some variance and stuff, but they will actually have that information to kind of compare with. So that's obviously a good thing from their point of view. Disney is always doing market research, is always asking for people's thoughts and opinions. Doesn't mean they're going to change anything. It just means that they're asking for people's opinions. Maybe they want to check things. We've seen this a lot. I mean, we saw a survey last year asking all about what shows and movies would you like to see on Disney+. The US got none of them. The UK got all of them. It was very much, you know, they do change things around a bit. You know, you tend to get this from Disney and just large corporations as a whole. You know, they want to do that market research. But would you like to see Disney doing the binge drop, or do you prefer the weekly model? It's very hit and miss. You know, loads of people have different views. I'm going to be honest. I think for me, being a little bit older, I like them being spread out. And yeah, younger people generally like to have them all at once, and that's kind of more of a generational thing. I think also it's time thing. You know, as you get older, you might have more things to do, so therefore it's harder to fit in watching 10 episodes. I also like everyone being on the same page when you talk about stuff. I mean, could you imagine Loki, where if we all watched the first season, you know, last week, you know, how would we be able to talk about it? Because everyone's on different stages. It's very weird, but let me know what you think. Also, just let me know what you're going to be watching over on Disney Plus over the weekend. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You're going to be watching Luca? I hope so. And give Big Shot a go as well. So on that note, we're going to have a podcast up tomorrow where me and James roll through all of our thoughts on some different things like Luca. I'll be talking about Wolfgang and other bits and pieces. On Sunday, we'll be doing the live Q&A. So if you've got any questions and you are a Patreon or YouTube channel member, head over to there and you can submit them. And yeah, so all have a great weekend, and I shall see you guys soon. Later. Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Also, a huge thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and also on our YouTube channel memberships. And I shall see you guys in another video. Later.